And every Memorial Day at places like Arlington National Cemetery, thousands of volunteers, you see them there, placing flags in front of the grave. It's a powerful visual reminder that these sacrifices are not forgotten in the United States of America. Their sacrifice is the price of the freedom we enjoy every day, and we never want to take that for granted. So joining me now is someone who knows a lot about the ultimate sacrifice. He's the author of an upcoming book you're going to love. It's called Beyond the Badge, and I think I might be getting a pre-autographed copy. Johnny Joey Jones, Fox News contributor, anchor, host. He does it all. And veteran, of course. Great to see you, Johnny.
That's good intuition.
Joey, I should say.
That's it.
Joey, first off, your thoughts on Memorial Day, because you lost your legs, but also a lot of your friends lost their lives.
Yeah,
who jumps to mind?
The day that you get injured and live, you call that your alive day. That's always hard for me to say because the first person that comes to mind is Corporal Daniel Greer. He was from a small town in Tennessee, a full-time fireman. He became a reserve Marine and asked to go to war, so he didn't have to. And he died from the IED that took my legs, trying to protect me and provide security for me. Still talk to his wife, Stacy, who has worked with Tunnel to Towers, and she's fantastic, an amazing Gold Star wife, and he means a lot to me. And there's several others, Marine EOD techs I served with really closely, more than 20 actually.
Which is when we ask you, do you want to highlight anyone? You say, where do you stop, really?
Yeah.
I understand that, and we have some group pictures. The other thing we talk about is the military today, because they're going to be asked for big challenges. People are very nervous about the so-called superpower to superpower matchup. But I'm kind of heartened by we seem to be loving the military again. Recruiting's beginning to surge. Look at some of these stats. Navy recruits in 2023 up significantly. In 2024, you have a goal, we reach it. 2025, the goal is definitely attainable when it comes to all branches of the Army. What is changing now on the perception? Because I know there was some bitterness, especially after Afghanistan. A lot of military families said, we're not going to do this again.
You know, I have a little bit different take on this, and I think most people talk about. A lot of people directly connect the sense of patriotism that a president from the right brings, the idea that generally Republican presidents support the military more, and certainly the woke topics that have plagued everything from our service academies now to boot camp and units. All of those matter in this. I used to have people come up to me and say, I don't know if I want to send my kid into this military. And I'd say, well, if you don't, we leave it to them. Like, we have to fight for it and keep it. But what I think is driving the recruitment now more than anything is a president and a secretary of defense that has said openly and honestly they don't intend to start new wars. And if we go to war, we go to it to win. And I think those two things are a stark contrast from the last 20 years, in my opinion.
Then why are we going out of our way to try to stop Israel from winning in a war that they were inflicted with? The Hamas starts it, but the whole world wants Israel to back off. I want you to hear what Admiral Darrell Caudell told us. He's U.S. Fleet Forces commander. He was on Fox and Friends about the state of the military.
It's been tremendous. Our recruiting numbers are up. We have recruited 4,000 more sailors already this year than we did last year, which was already a banner year. So I think recruitment's up, retention's at an all-time high. And so we got this juggernaut of Navy potential here.
And we just got about $1 trillion budget for Secretary of Defense Hegseth's defense team.
Yeah, so I'll go back to your first question about Israel, and I'll say this. I think that President Trump believes there's a path to get rid of Iran without war. I don't know if that's true. When I say get rid of the nuclear threat of Iran and what they do in the region, I don't know if that's true. I know one thing. I was at a Jewish event celebrating Jerusalem and Jews in old town Jerusalem, and then woke up, and next thing you know, there's this tragedy, anti-Semitic tragedy.
Yeah,
this country needs leadership on this issue, and I think Israel needs to be supported by this.
That happened Wednesday night, a tragedy, assassination of a terrorist who was proud of it.
Yeah.
Much like the people that cheer from River to the Sea in front of Columbia, NYU, City College, Harvard, and others.
But it's on this topic, though, because you have these young people from colleges that are chanting things they don't even understand, and now you have a resurgence of young people doing two things: joining the church and joining the military. So there's hope. And on this Memorial Day, there's hope for this country.
We're a self-correcting country. We fix things. Let's talk about Behind the Badge. It comes out June 17th. Yeah. What was the motivation? And I understand you are all over this. This is a passion of yours.
It's Memorial Day. We're celebrating those that died mostly in combat in our military. For 20 years, we've had this conversation, and now we have an entire branch of our government, the Department of Veterans Affairs, on board about the mental health of men and women that serve our country because of the trauma they endure at war. I've got two brothers-in-law and a guy that's like an uncle to me I've known since I was 3 years old. They've been firemen for 30 years. They see their trauma every single day. When they drive through an intersection to take their kids to school, they've seen a child die in a car wreck in that same intersection. Their trauma is, their battlefield is their home. And so years of going on hunting trips and hanging out with Marines and service members and first responders together and seeing what we had in common, but also how much further behind they are in their trauma being acknowledged and understood by Americans. This is so far beyond the back the blue or defund the police. This is about human beings that put their lives on the line in the towns they live in and never have a chance to get away from it. And when I wrote this book, I didn't know it, but on the back end, what I realized is to where we have a Department of Veterans Affairs, they're having to do it in the fire hall, at the precinct, on the SWAT team. It's very grassroots. There's no national major push to support them in this.
Wow, and hopefully this book goes a long way in exposing that. There's an excerpt that we pulled that maybe you should read.
Sure. It says, how much of that kind of trauma can one man or woman carry, and for how long? Perhaps that's the question we should consider as civilians in a country so free of danger because we are so blessed with first responders who sign up for the job and responsibility of trying to save us from it. Perhaps rather than fighting over whether to support or attack first responders, we should be reflecting on having gratitude for the job they do. And that is the synopsis of the book.
Wow, and so often people either serve in the military, they'll go and serve if they're in the reserves, they'll go be cops and firefighters, then they go into the military, and then they come back.
Yeah.
Or they decide, after I'm done with my 20 years, or 4 years, they decide to go become cops and firefighters.
Absolutely. I started this segment talking about Daniel Greer, who was a full-time fireman in Tennessee and became a reserve Marine and went to war and lost his life. That's the kind of men and women that protect our towns.
Nobody better I'd like to talk to on Memorial Day. Thanks so much.
Thank you, brother.
Joe, and congratulations. We cannot wait for the book to come out June 17th. You can pre-order it now, guys. Go do it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.